The setting sun casts reddish-orange light onto the cloudy sky, far above the palace of the bipedal avian that called themselves Ardhen. An army led by Ardhen Dynasty has entered the imperial palace in their rebellion against the Ardhen Dynasty, who have ruled the empire with an iron talon. All the imperial guards in the palace have either switched sides, surrendered, or killed by the army of Zatari. "You are surrounded, Zamnai. Relinquish your rule and leave, or fight me and die like an emperor," Ardhen exclaims, his voice heard across the gigantic palace laden with precious stones and metal. "You will die here and now, Ardhen, on the hand of your own old friend." From inside the palace came the cruel emperor, Zamnai. On his hip is a double-edged sword, the imperial oath carved into the scabbard. "Your Iron Talon rule is over, Zamnai. We will forge a new and just dynasty for the people of Ardalus and all planets in the Empire." Ardhen marches forward alone towards the front garden of the palace, where the white and red heaven's blessing flowers grows in a massive circle, surrounded by the white bronze tree with their dark gold leaves falling. "My family has built this dynasty for hundreds of years, Ardhen, and 100 more shall my descendants rule. I will not give the throne to you and your kin, Zatari." Zamnai's golden and purple robe dragged behind him as he descends the stairs of the palace towards the garden. "I will not let you and your descendants rule over us with fear and injustice anymore. This is your last warning, Zamnai. Leave the throne and I will spare you and your family." Ardhen holds the scabbard of his intricate titanium alloy sword with his left hand. "I have the mandate of heaven with me, Zatari, and I will hold on to it until my last breath." Zamnai draws out his sword, a titanium blade with the imperial oath intricately etched into its spine, reflects the light of the setting sun behind him. "Then let the heaven decide on who shall the mandate be given to." Ardhen pulls out his sword as well, only a bare titanium blade with no etchings or engraving. Just a simple titanium alloy sword with simple stainless steel fittings. The two old friends circles each other in the garden of flowers and golden leaves. Their men watched on as the long, abandoned custom of Magni Call, duel between men of power to the death, begins. Moments pass with nothing but passing wind, and falling leaves makes any sound, when a sudden burst of movement came from Zamnai. His deceivingly thin frame moves like raging water. Ardhen dodges his assailant, pushing away the thrusting blade of Zamnai with his own before stepping away and landing as if he's half flying. Before he could move into better stance, Zamnai once again attacked with the flurry of thrusts and slash from his sword. One of the slash managed to cut into Ardhen's blue uniform and grazed his arm. He managed to reposition himself and put on a good stance as Zamnai recovered from his attacks. This time, Zamnai went defensive as Ardhen attacks him with fast thrust alike, that of swordfish attacking its prey. Thrust after thrust, Zamnai managed to dodge or deflect it, but one of Ardhen's thrusts pierces through the shoulder of his imperial robe and cut his left shoulder. The two kept fighting. Both appear to be equal in skills, but in the end, one have to fall. The clouds above shifted, shining the shine of the setting sun onto Zamnai, who thought that this is the heaven's will that he shall rule. However, Ardhen sees otherwise and sees the moment of his opponent's distraction and plunges his sword into the body of Zamnai. Scarlet blood flows from the wound, while Zamnai, still in shock and couldn't even lift his blade. His eyes turned towards the sky, as if asking why the heaven had betrayed him, before Ardhen's blade struck his neck and severing his head from his body. Still breathing heavily from the fight, Ardhen grabbed the severed head of Zamnai by the feathers and lifts it up for all to see. His men cheered and exclaimed, "Long live the Emperor!" Far beyond the space of the Zatari dynasty, a frigate is flying through the empty space in hyperdrive, flying along the explorer ship Evening Star. Inside is the exiled prince of the Zatari dynasty, Prince Ardhen Zatari, son of Gulvan Zatari, 9th in the Zatari bloodline. exiled for the defeat against his own father in Magni Call, but instead of death, he was exiled and sent on a mission to find a new worthy ally for the Empire, a seemingly impossible task given that most of the galaxy has been explored. I still don't understand this, Uncle. Why would Father send me searching for a worthy ally when the galaxy is already searched inside out? Karen asks, frustrated, as he paced back and forth inside the bridge of the frigate. The heaven will give you a solution, Chiron, but you must be patient for that. Marma Zatari said, the brother of the Emperor Golvan Zatari and the uncle of Chiron. He sips a cup of Ardalus red tea as he sits in front of a small table. I can't afford to be patient, Uncle. My honor is already in shambles, and the longer I wait, the less it can be mended back. Chiron lashed out in frustration. Do you still remember what your mother told you when you were young, Prince Chiron? Marma puts his cup down. Emotions are like water. If they're boiling in heat, you can't touch it. Chiron calms down, looking at the imperial symbol above the room's door. And if too cold, it will break. You have to control your emotion, young prince, else someone might control you instead. Marma continues, as calm as he always is. What do you mean by that, Uncle? Chiron, curious at his words. Prince Chiron, our explorer ship captain wants to speak with you. The captain of the frigate said. Link me with the captain. Chiron ordered, putting on his militaristic stance with both hands behind his back, in front of the holographic screen. The holographic screen comes to life, and the face of the explorer ship's captain became visible from a blurry mess. Greetings, Prince Chiron. Our probes have returned many data of our next habitable planet, the captain said. Cut the formality short, Captain. Tell me if there is anything important. Karen said, anticipating. Yes, Prince Chiron. Our probes has detected sign of intelligent life in the planet of Solar 3 and a shelter colony in Solar 4, the captain said, trace of excitement audible in his voice. Wait, aren't Solar 3 damn near uninhabitable? Karen is appalled at the captain's statement. Yes, but our probe shows a sign of early FTL civilization in that solar system, and from what we learn from their communication networks, these beings called themselves human. The captain explained. You have done well, Captain. Collect all your probes and prepare for a long journey. We are going back to Ardalus. Chiron is pleased at this revelation. His chance for regaining his honor and his father's pride are finally on his hands. Yes, Prince Chiron, the captain said as the transmission ended. As I have said, the heaven will give you a solution. Marma finishes his cup of tea. It's not the heaven, Uncle. It is the effort of all the men in both of these ships. Chiron sits down in a chair near the table, picking up a cup of tea and starts drinking it before spitting it out. Ugh, this tea is bitter and bland. It's Ardalus red tea, Prince Chiron. It might be slightly bitter, but it can calm oneself down. Although it's an acquired taste. Marma pours some more tea from the teapot. Whatever you said, Uncle. I can finally return an honored man. Chiron slumps in his chair, leaning his head against the wall. The imperial palace in Ardalus are busy with activity as usual. The many ministers and House representatives are there to discuss and decide on the working of the empire, with the emperor sitting on the throne above a pyramid of staircase covered in expensive red carpet. The words of the officials are suddenly cut short when the grand door of the inner palace are opened by the automatic system. In walks the exiled Prince Chiron Zatari, along with the retired Grand General Marma Zatari. They walked up past the ministers and representatives before stopping a short distance away from the base of the pyramid where the emperor's throne lies. Both in unison kneels on one knee, bow down their head, and place their palms together. Greetings to the emperor. May the heaven grant his highness with long life and prosperous rule. Arise. What have brought you home? You are still in exile until you find a worthy ally for the empire. The emperor inquired, seemingly not amused by the presence of his own son. We found just that, father. Near the edge of the galaxy, our explorer ship managed to find an intelligent life that flourish in a near uninhabitable planet called Solar 3. The prince uploads the data of the planet onto the inner palace's holoscreen for all to see. The people living and thriving there are mammalians, more specifically of the primate type. They lived everywhere on the planet, from the driest desert to the coldest tundra and wettest jungle. The holographic shows what humans look like and their many races, causing the officials to discuss among one another about this new intelligent life. An impressive find you have here, Kairen. Tell us more about these primates. Golvan said, a slight smile on his face. Not only are their planets deadly for our standard, the animals within are also nothing short of nightmarish. Our probes have detected on the planet giant snakes capable of reaching size of 7–10 meters in length, along with gigantic ambush predators called crocodiles. The officials gasped at the sight of a crocodile, as it looked similar to a mythological creature in their mythology called Horaya or water dragon. These people are living in a death world. What advantage we would have if we ally with them? The defense minister said. A good defense is to have tough and hardy friend watching your back, and I can surely say that these people are hardy and tough from their own planet. Marma chimes in with his militaristic knowledge. His simple explanations send the people murmuring to each other. Very well then, Kairen. I have another mission for you. You are to guard a delegation of our own to meet these people and form an alliance. And in addition, I want you to bring me their finest to serve me, the Emperor said smugly. Karen's eyes widened at his father's request. Yes, Your Highness. I will do my best. Karen bows down, answered by his father's nod. Now go and rest. You will have another long journey ahead to your mother's planet before your next mission. Kairen and Marma puts their palms together and nods before walking away. And don't forget, Kairen, I will not consider your honor returned if you don't manage to have their best serve me. The Emperor leans his body against the throne, one arm supporting his cheek. Kairen can only nods before he left the inner palace completely. Those humans will be a great tool for me, Golvan thinks as the officials below starts to bicker and argue once more.